And hello once again. My name is Botman, and for the convenience of the listeners, I will be responsible for further reading of the script. I will speak in Orel's name. Welcome to the fourth part of my video series, Madness in the Western World and an Introduction to a Realistic Solution. The following explanation of the third objective might be very uninteresting for the majority of the listeners, since it focuses a lot on the technical aspects of certain projects, but it is simplified to the maximum of what is necessary to hear, especially for those who are familiar with the subject and who wish to know how certain future projects concerning our internet activity and organization will work for our mission. The third objective. We must secure our means of communication, bypass restrictions from the internet censorship, especially in Europe, create independent, trustworthy platforms to exchange information, news, important intel, and focus attention and activity of aware people on those platforms, on this alternative internet infrastructure, which will grant us absolute freedom of speech and security for organizational purposes. We must create a primary, independent, and central organizational point on the internet, secured in case any new censorship regulations emerge, especially in Europe, and prepare fundamentals for the Pol Strat project, which I will talk further about later. To effectively organize on a mass scale, we must do it through the internet first. There is no other way around. We need to be organized and act on the international level. It's not only a national problem anymore, it's a civilizational crisis, a war for civilization. Furthermore, in our countries, people like us hold no real influence of power, because we are the minority, often tagged as radicals and bigots. As I said before, political solutions do not exist, and the majority of people will never wake up until it's already too late to save anything of value. I have seen how small calls for action work in the real world. People come together enthusiastically and then leave being mostly disappointed by the outcome, ignored or attacked by the leftist media, which never leads to good results. People won't admit this, but each failure of these calls for action demotivates them from participating in any future events. So until you are sure that you are able to gather enough people with clearly defined goals and you plan in advance, you need to avoid actions in the real world. Focus on the internet first, and the Pol Strat project will help you to organize such events effectively. We must establish our own censorship-free central point for further more advanced organization of aware right-minded people, because we currently have many small platforms that are relatively free from censorship, and our people are divided among all of them in small meaningless numbers. For now, I suggest we stick to what we still have. However, things might change in the near future because of increasing censorship. I designed this strategic objective long ago, and I attempted to set this project up in the past, but we failed. The centralization point will be called Pol Strat. Platform Pol Strat will be a control panel to monitor the situation in our countries and to start slowly organizing aware, right-minded people on a local, regional, and national level in the real world. You will be able to make friends, discover like-minded people in your own town or city to cooperate on this local level. You won't be alone anymore. You won't feel alienated, fearing of who you may speak to and which topics to avoid. Pol Strat is a very advanced project, combining everything that's needed to keep people well informed and fully aware of the situation around us, and to organize people to unite them for action whenever needed. The social media and political platform, organization, coordination, and communication will be established on the internet surface and underground, linking those together, protecting us from any form of internet censorship forced upon us by our puppet governments, and it will help people to bypass it by allowing access to blocked websites, opening videos blocked in your country, backing up controversial materials, and much more. We will even try to make a communication platform similar to Discord called Pol World, but with absolute freedom of speech and identity protection as well. To create this alternative centralized meeting point, I will try to offer cooperation by the makers of platforms like BitChute, Minds, Gab, but it will be for the best if we develop all of this ourselves from scratch for security reasons. This platform will be completely legal and there won't be any legally justified way to shut it down, because the Pol Strat platform will serve as a mirror or a proxy between the surface and the dark web, while on its own, with its own surface, website and servers, it will be completely clean and innocent in the eyes of any state censorship, and servers with sensitive information will be accessible using our website emulator. It will be registered for a ghost company, officially operating, for example, in China or Russia or some other convenient country. As I said, our Surface website being owned by a Surface business company will have clean hands, because it only provides a tool integrated into Pol Strat mechanics, which allows for previews of controversial information stored on servers registered for a different non-American, non-European country. In order to legally shut down a platform like Pol Strat, our governments would need to criminalize and shut down projects like Tor, which is not possible to do based on the political situation in our Western world and the internet structure itself. Those mechanics should keep our personal information and freedom to watch and read whatever we need secured for many years to come, possibly until the collapse of this system. Pol Strat will allow users to create a sort of collective mind, where interaction will directly be affecting reality. This collective mind will be shaping ideas and visions over this operation and the entire political system, laws, regulations, and religions, or even the products produced by some of our companies, which I will talk about while explaining objective number 4, regarding our economy. Pol Strat will use a VPN system if needed, with our own network on the surface and dark web, databases located on servers all over the world, encrypted communication, everything without any political censorship or limits, with a very smart design and mechanics. All features packed inside one project, which will be easy to access, to navigate in, and easy to use. And it will be available absolutely for free to everyone. For most people, it's too complicated or simply takes too much effort to use currently available VPNs to reach certain types of information, which in turn limits the popularity of such materials. This must be changed. Pol Strat will be a completely public project, but it will be secured against any manipulation or damaging interactions from our governments. In further stages of development, access speeds will be fast, thanks to our network of servers located all over the world. If the database in one country is in danger, we will have emergency servers in neighboring countries. Access to all the information and project features will be available through our main website, which will have its own Tor-to-Web system, allowing you to access and display information which we normally would not be allowed to store in certain countries where censorship on such information is applied. This is a very complex project, but it can and should be done. This alternative internet infrastructure will be constructed in stages, with time, just as certain Pol Strat platform features will be unlocked in certain countries based on Pol Strat popularity in specific countries. Pol Strat will reach its full potential after we establish our own stable economy. The first original name for this project was Polyworld. It was later renamed to Project Pol Strat. Those who wish to know details, there's an old channel dedicated to this project, only with videos about Pol Strat structure, schematics, and more. Our own safe place in the dark web mixed with coexisting subsites on the surface net and internet inside an internet network. There are separate videos about this project, which are dedicated to this project only on the Polyworld channel. Of course, we won't be able to start this project with everything at once. Pol Strat will constantly be in development and growing to unlock new features in certain countries based on our budget possibilities and the number of registered users from those countries. We need to popularize it and make it easier for people to access censored information by using our own website integrated towards web system, which will grant them fast access directly from our website on the surface web. Pol Strat will become a mirror which will grant access and vision between a world of surface information and those which are under any form of oppressive political censorship. In my opinion, not a single democratic government should have the right to dictate to people what type of information they are allowed to access, especially if that information could shine a new light on the situation, from which the life of those people might depend on. Also, nobody should tell people what they are allowed to question or not. People should always question everything. They are one of the basic mechanics for independent thinking, which should be protected by law. A free people must be allowed to access all public information, and they must be allowed to question everything. In Europe, for example, it is illegal to question many subjects from our history, which proves how controlled we are by our so-called international masters. A project which was developed by the US Army to help establish secure anonymous communications between US agents will serve us now to establish our own fundamentals for our future organization to avoid tracking of individual users or limit any exchange of information. Access to the Pol Strat and Trade Strat platforms won't require the user to install any program or apps on their devices. Also, both platforms and all the features on those platforms are accessible from the surface web. Integrated platform mechanics will be performing operations on the dark web automatically, and this entire process won't be visible for the regular user. Essentially, the website mechanics will be through a dark web system, whereas the user will be accessing everything through the surface net, just like they would with any social media site, like YouTube, Facebook, etc. Please remember that Pol Strat is necessary to set up the Trade Strat project, which will not only allow us to create our own alternative trade market with our own currency, but will secure the creation of our own economy. Details will be explained further in this video series.